Hey guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with my favorite romance series that are extremely bingeable. They are romance series you're just going to pick up, read all the way through, and I don't do that a lot with my romances, so the fact that these had me wanting to pick up the next book definitely makes them a good bingeable series. Before we get to the video, I do want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of this video, which is Dicala. I am going to be chatting about their Arkenstone Smart Ambient Light, which is really cool, so I'm going to go ahead and take you to my bedroom where this is plugged in and show you all about this really interactive, really cool, that I'm super excited to have light. Like, it's weird to get super excited about a light alarm clock, but this is so cool, so let me show you. Alright, so I am here in my bedroom at my nightstand, and this is what it looks like. So this is the box, which I'll show you. It's right here. It is an ambient light that has so many fun different settings. When I opened it, it comes with this instruction manual. It was super easy to set up. So you open your phone and open up the Smart Life app. It opens up and it connects to the light. So I go to the Smart Life app on my phone and it connects to the alarm clock, and so there are ways to set up your alarm, but my favorite part about it is that you can turn the light on, and so this is set up as the night light and you can adjust the brightness. And so if I want it to lower, I go there. You can put it higher, which goes there. And if I want to turn that off, and my favorite is the ambient lighting. It's so cool. So let me turn the brightness down of the light. You can change the color scheme you want the light to be, which is really cool, and the different colors, and they show a bunch of different colors. So this one has like 4 or 5 different colors on it, and I'm really excited to use this with the ambient lighting. It'll be so fun to read with ambient lighting with my lights out and have this on and maybe like read my Kindle or something, and you can change the brightness and have it up or down, or you can just do straight up colors and choose any color you want it to be. So I can do pink, I can do green, blue, red, yellow, anything you want. So the alarm clock has a ton of options on it. You can set the time you want to wake up, when you want it to repeat, the sound effect, how long you want it to ring for, the volume, the light you want to show up when you're asleep, the light duration you want on, if snooze is turned on, how long you want snooze for. I just loved like playing when I first got it with all the light effects, so all the different colors that I want it to be, and it looks really cool when I'm reading at night. So and even if I just want one color, like, it's super cool, and I'm so excited to have this and like geek out over a light. But as a reader, this is really cool. So I'm really excited to have this, and I'm super excited that the company reached out to me and sent me one and wanted to sponsor a video. This is Jessica from the future. I just completely forgot to add a couple more points about the ambient light from Dicala. So this actually helps with your sleeping. It has a blue light that helps suppress unwanted melatonin so that you don't feel sleepy, but it also has a red light that will help boost melatonin for you to sleep better. So whether you are having trouble sleeping or don't want to feel too sleepy, this has different functions that help with that as well. If you do yoga, it helps train your breathing rhythm. So whether it is being used for reading, like I'm using it, whether you use it for your sleep or for yoga, there are so many cool ways to use this light. If you are interested, make sure you check out Dicala and their ambient light. Like I said, have been loving using this to read at night, and I'm so excited to continue to use it and change up my lighting based on the mood I'm in and just sit in like a really fun environment while I read at night. So check them out, and thank you so much to Dicala for sponsoring this video. Now let's go ahead and get to the recommendations. So the first recommendation I have is the Fallen series by Nicola Davidson. I've heard so much about Nicola Davidson from friends, from an anthology she's in. I know Rachel from Rachel Reads and Sings loves her. She's a historical romance author, and the Fallen series is a series of novellas that are definitely steamy, and they all have such amazing tropes. So I love romances where there's like something for everyone in the series. And so the first one is a woman who's a widow, and she thought that she would be able to live her life the way she wants to, but they have a match for her that she hates, and so she doesn't want to get remarried, so she seeks out a notorious man who owns a pleasure club, and she's like, ruin me please. So he ruins her, and it is so good. I really enjoyed this one. Book 2 is my favorite. It's Marriage in Trouble. She has not seen him in a while, and it's because he doesn't know how to confide in her about his needs and his past, and so she visits him and is like, we're gonna make this work, and they do, and it is so good. I loved how caring she was and really wanted to get to know him and what he was going through and what he needs. It's such a good romance. And then the third one was one I just finished like yesterday. I really enjoyed this one as well. We have our second chance romance in this one, so they had actually had a like kind of like one night stand before, but they were like really into each other, and then she disappears, and now she's back and she is trying to open her own pleasure club and like spying on his pleasure club, but for a reason. So this was really a really good second chance romance. So definitely like all very different, but the men are all best friends. So we have like Sin, Devil, and Vice, and it's so good. They're all like part of the pleasure club. Check out the series. Then I have the Ravenwood series by Kate Stewart. This one I feel like is bingeable because you get so much closure by the end, and there's so much like unknown that you need to get to the rest of the series, like back to back to back. So the first one wasn't my favorite because the heroine was very naive and young. They meet when she's really young. She meets two guys that she works with at her father's factory because her father's super wealthy and she has to work there for the summer and live with him. And it's just very much a passionate romance she has with these men, but she's also really growing as a person. And so book 2, the love interest switches, and they're like, there's weird things going on. They're part of a bigger picture that you're like, what the heck is happening? She has no idea what is happening. And then book 3 is very cathartic as a reader because it shows you flashbacks of characters that you've known throughout the series, that you've lost throughout the series, and it's so emotional, and the hero has to severely grovel to the heroine. She is much more mature now. It's been years, so this series definitely is very emotional because we span years of these characters just not knowing how to be together. And so I really enjoy this series. It's unlike anything really I've read before, and definitely recommend reading all 3 to get their full story, and just the third book just makes the entire series worth it. Then I have a series that I've only read the first book in, but I'm dying to read book 2, and I feel like that's a really good sign. That's the Campus Tale series by QB Tyler. Very forbidden, age gaps in all of them. I've only read the first one, and I know who the second one's about. So the first one is a professor romance. Our heroine goes on a dating app. She's new in college. She is like not really into it, but like her neighbor's like, come out with me. Like there's this new dating app, you should try it. So she tries it. She meets up with this guy. They have a really hot night together, walks into class the next day, and he's her professor. She lied about who she was. I think she lied about her age, and she said she was not a student. He's flipping out, but they have such intense chemistry and they can't stay away from each other. So it's an age gap, definitely very forbidden, so good. And then we get her sister story in the next book with, I believe, her dad's coworker or boss or something, like someone who was friends with her dad. So definitely another age gap romance. We got to see her in the first book, and I'm really excited. These are pretty short. They're like around 200 pages, 250 pages, so you can fly through them, and they're just fun, forbidden romances, which is what QB Tyler does. They're less angsty than her other books I've read by her, so check the series out. Then I have the Hades series by Tate James. This one ends on cliffhangers, so you're just like, give me the next book now. It's reverse harem. Our heroine is kick butt. She like runs her own kind of like mafia crime group. So she is a very strong heroine, and she has a relationship with 3 guys, and it's not really developed in the first book, but you definitely get development in the second book with one guy who is younger than her and is kind of off limits, who is a new worker at her club. We have one guy who is her best friend, and then another guy she had kind of a thing with in the past. So they're all 3 very different relationships, and something happens to one of the guys after each book, and you're just like, did that just happen? How are we gonna get out of this situation? They're action-packed, such good romances. Like book 2, super steamy. I love her relationship with all 3 of the guys in book 2. I love their dynamics with one another. It is reverse harem, so if you don't like that, don't pick up this book, but this book is just so good. So definitely check it out because I could not put these books down. I haven't finished the series yet. I need to, but my library only has the first few on audio, so I'm waiting until I have time to pick up physically the book, but I'm dying to finish this series. Then we have a couple of historicals. So we have the Scoundrels of St. James series by Lorraine Heath. This series is so good. We have a group of children who all grew up on the streets together, and so they have really rough pasts. I feel like if you like the Victorian Rebel series by Kerrigan Byrne, you're gonna really like this series. The first one, our hero grew up on the streets. he dealt with a lot of bad things, and then he figured out that he is the son of an earl, so he is taken in and given the title, and so now he's titled, but he's like, I don't know how to do this, and our heroine hears of his past and needs someone dead, so she approaches him and asks him to kill someone for her, and their romance starts. And then book 2, we have our hero who again grew up on the streets. He owns a club now. He inherits this man's fortune and wife and child, so he is like in charge of the estate until the child is of age to inherit everything. And so it's his romance with the child's mom, and so she's like, who are you? How did you know my husband? No idea like how to deal with him because she knows of his reputation, and I really enjoy this as well. There's definitely secrets in here. Then we have book 3, which is Franny's story. Franny went through a very horrific childhood as well, and she is the one that they're all super protective of. One's in love with her, one thought he was in love with her, and she falls for a duke who is the brother of the female character in book 1. And then we have the 4th book. This one is bonkers. I'm pretty sure the hero works for Bow Street. He is an inspector, and so he gets like wind that she is trying to get revenge on someone. She's trying to get revenge because her twin sister killed herself and because of a man, so she's determined to kill that man, and she starts getting into a relationship with this guy who's kind of after her. And this one had like the most mind-blowing plot twist I've ever read in a book, and it was so unexpected because I was like, where's this plot going? And then I'm like, oh my god, it's going there. So this one is just so good, and you get to see all 4 of the main characters who each have their own book, and you become really connected with them, and they all have really dark pasts, and so you really feel for them and want the best for them, but they've learned how to be successful in society as people who are not titled, and a lot of them have class difference romances. And so this series is just so good. You're going to want to fly through it. I definitely recommend the audiobooks because I absolutely love them. Then I have the Bow Street Bachelor series by Kate Bateman because I feel like these have such unique historical romance plots. Our first one, our heroine doesn't want to get married, and so she decides to find someone on death row so that she can be a widow and not have to deal with society's expectations of her. But the guy she chooses is actually undercover in prison, and he is a titled man. So he's an earl. He's not gonna die. And so she sees him at a ball and she's like, this is not my plan. So it's a lot of fun, kind of reminiscent of Shanna by Kathleen Woodiwiss. Book 2, she's a jewel thief and he works for Bow Street. So he's trying to track her down and she's trying to steal these jewels back, and it's such a fun romance. I really love like they're on the wrong side of the law and they're on opposite sides of the law, so this one was a really fun book. And then the third one, she's a Russian princess running away because someone is trying to get her to marry them, and she knows someone is a spy, and our hero is working for Bow Street trying to uncover this spy and also try to find her. And she actually works with, I think, like his aunt or something, and so the aunt is like, you need to protect her, and so there's a bit of forced proximity as well. And I loved this book so much. Like this entire series, 5 stars for all of them. Kate Bateman is an author you need to read, but the series itself is just so unique and very action-packed for a romance series, especially books 2 and 3, so read the series. Then I have the Nashville Neighborhood series by Nikki Sloan. This one is just like a good taboo time. I read book 2 and then I went back and read book 1, and I can't wait to read book 3. So book 1, they're all age gaps, okay? So book 1 is The Doctor. It's a boyfriend's dad romance. Her and her boyfriend broke up, and the dad and her like each other, and so it's their romance. Like I said, there's nothing like super angsty. This one more so focuses on just the romance, so there wasn't a lot of like external plot to it. So if you just want an age gap fun time, forbidden, read this. But book 2 is my favorite. We have an older heroine and a younger hero, so she's like 40, he's in his early 20s. It's actually her best friend's son, and he's her pool boy. She just got a divorce, and she actually works in music, and they end up working together on something. So I really liked that secondary plot to this book, but definitely taboo. And it's also it's my best friend's son romance, so that's gonna blow up in your face. But Troy is just so smitten and obsessed with her, so I really, really loved the dynamics of this romance. I need more older woman, younger man romances. And the third book I've heard amazing things about with The Architect. I haven't gotten to it yet, but you're gonna want to read through the series just for a good taboo time. And the last one I have is because I finished book 1 like yesterday, and I'm like, where's book 2? Give me book 2 now, because these characters are set up so well. Like the epilogue of book 1 is the next heroine's book, so I love it when series set up the next book really well, and this one are different couples. It is the Queens and Monsters series by J.T. Gessinger. This one, the first one, is so good. They're mafia romances, enough action for me, but also a really good paying attention to the romance for me. Our heroine is recovering still from the loss of her fiance, who disappeared 5 years ago, the day before their wedding, and so she doesn't have any interest in anyone, but then she has a new neighbor who's dark, brooding, mysterious, and she has a feeling he's dangerous, but they end up really connecting, and he's part of the mafia, so she knows that he has a dangerous life and kind of accepts the fact that they don't get to like have a normal life together, but she's also trying to uncover certain things that happen with her fiance. Things get a little bit action-packed near the end. I love this. And then we have her friend, and her friend is kind of set up with a romance, and I'm really excited to read book 2, and I've heard book 2 is only better than book 1, so after reading this first one, you're definitely going to want to pick up the next one as soon as possible. Like, that is one of the next books I want to read. So this is definitely a series you're going to want to just go back to back with the books, but book 1, amazing. And those are some romance recommendations of series that are definitely bingeable. You're going to read one and just want to fly through the rest of them. You're gonna fall in love with all of the characters, especially when there are romances that follow a group of people who are friends, or they really introduce the next romance really well in the first book. So definitely check these series out. Let me know if you have any other recommendations for me, and thank you so much to Dakala for sponsoring this video. Make sure you check out their ambient light if you want to have a really fun experience reading, especially at night. I'm so excited to continue using this, so check them out. Thank you so much to them for sponsoring this video, and that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.